Hi, beautiful people. So I hope everybody's having a good week. So I will try not to make this video too long because I know the too long videos are not very popular. There is something that I briefly touched upon on my Instagram channel, but I feel this theme deserves a little bit more than just 90 seconds of mentioning. So here we are. In the past few days and upcoming days, we have these transits that to me are speaking of certain theme, which I would like to share with you guys. So let me just quickly jump into astrology very briefly to just name these transits, and then I interpret what I think is going on here. So yesterday we had Mars in Gemini square in Neptune. So obviously that is already telling us that there is some tension going on there. And then today we have Sun in Pisces conjuncting Neptune in Pisces. Tomorrow we'll have Mercury in Pisces conjuncting Neptune in Pisces. And tomorrow is a loaded day because at the same time we're going to have Sun squaring Mars, who is the ruler, who is ruled by Mercury. And then we also have Venus squaring Pluto. And after that, Venus will move into Taurus. And Mercury is very busy tomorrow because we'll at the same time also square Mars. And then on Friday, Mercury will conjunct Sun. Venus will sextile Saturn, which is now newly in Pisces. And on Saturday, Mercury will sextile Pluto. And after that, Mercury will move into Aries, where it will be ready for this equinox and the new moon. So, okay, so what is all this telling us? I know this bunch of transit doesn't really say very much, but we obviously can see that there is some repeating theme going on. There is a lot of Mercury, and Mercury currently is still in Pisces. So obviously Mercury in Pisces is not talking to us in a linear way, you know, like if we want to get a communication of Mercury in Pisces, we need to focus on the non-linear way of communicating, which is all about symbology. You know, you can get a message from song, from video, from, you know, you just hear something, or it could be downloads, obviously. And also Sun has been in Pisces, so this has been going on for past few weeks, and that's been highlighting certain things that, you know, perhaps no longer have a meaning for us. Perhaps they need to end, they need to be dissolved, because Pisces is the end of the cycle, is the end of the astrological year, is the 12th sign of the zodiac, and that's when things kind of come to die and they come to be reborn, because the new beginning, Aries, is literally just around the corner next week. And as we know, as we've been aware, because I've been mentioning this quite often, because Venus is the star of the year, Venus has been going through the sign of Aries, which is a new energy. Venus here is learning a new things in regards to her values, in regards to her needs, how she wants to relate to herself and to others. It's full of fire. It's like this divine feminine ready to go. And also, you know, some people might say she's a bit self-centered because it's not so much about the other, but it's about herself. So it's more like focusing on what are my needs, what is my new definition of what is important to me. And it's interesting that tomorrow, at the same time as Mercury will conjunct Neptune, Sun will square Mars, and also Mercury will square Mars as well. So it's all this tension going on there in regards to, oh my God, what are we still thinking? What are we still attached to? You know, these lies and stuff, which I will expand in a sec. Venus is squaring Pluto. So she's saying, okay, I figure out there is something that I need, something that I want, but I still don't know how to get it. You know, there is the square, there is the tension that I'm aware of something now that I wasn't aware of before, because this is a new cycle. And there is square to Pluto, who is hanging on dear life on the 29 degrees of Capricorn, saying that there are things that needs to change. There are things that needs to be transmuted in regards of these old definitions, all structures, all, you know, perception of stability and security in our life, because it's in opposition with Cancer, obviously. And then on Friday, we'll have Mercury conjuncting Sun. So this might be at the big download moment where suddenly everything becomes clear, because Pisces, it's deeper meaning, it's the communication from the source. And after Sun conjuncted with Neptune, Mercury conjuncting with Neptune, so obviously now they have this communication between themselves and the source, between themselves and the spirit. You know, Sun is like the divine essence, Neptune is the deeper meaning, higher meaning, and now suddenly, you know, Mercury communicated with those two guys, and now it knows, it suddenly knows. And Venus at the same time is sextile in Saturn. So Venus now newly, as of Thursday, will be in Taurus. She's sextile in Saturn and saying like, hey, Saturn, I know what I want, I know what I need. Now I'm ready to embody that because I'm in Taurus. So, I'm in my rulership. Now here I'm at home, I'm a queen. And now I'm sextiling you for support because Saturn brings the manifestation. Yes, it dissolves in Pisces. It might dissolve structure, like the definition of as we knew things before might not necessarily be working anymore. But here, Venus in sextile with Saturn is like, okay, now I know what I need. So we're going to manifest it. We're going to bring it into fruition. And Saturn in Pisces is giving us the opportunity to actually go and find the pieces of ourselves that we lost in a process where we try to, please everybody else or be part of this society that we are living in. And then it's very interesting that the day after, Mercury, still in Pisces, on the last minutes, like 29 degrees 55 seconds, will sextile Pluto. So obviously after all these squares between Mercury and Mars and Mercury and Sun and Mars, and then conjunction Mercury with Neptune and Sun with conjunction in Neptune, and then Mercury conjunct in Sun, like this, there's been information going on. And now Mercury knows because it's sextile in Pluto, and it's saying, now I know, now I understand what I need to let go of, what I need to resolve, what is this structure that doesn't work, that I need to let go of in order for me to move forward. Because it's going the same day, on Saturday, Mercury will move into sign of Aries, which is a new beginning. Again, we're gonna start thinking in a new way. Okay, now astrology, besides, what is this really telling me? And I mean, this is how it's been manifesting for me. Obviously, everybody is having their own experience, but how I felt this in my experience has been what is still this thinking process, the pattern that is stopping me from going forward and acting onto what is important to me, what I recently realized is important to me. What are my essential values? How do I want to live this life? How do I want to manifest it? But I still think that it's not possible. This Mars in Gemini has been going back and forth and saying like, are you ready to make a change? Are you ready to make a change? But there is something you need to let go of. There is something, the way you think, the way you perceive reality, perhaps the things that you believe, they blocking you, they stopping you from going forward with what you want. And now Mercury has just gone through Pisces. Obviously Mercury is ruling Mars. So Mercury is being the one that's been there to discover what it is. Obviously discovered in Aquarius, that what it is that it needs to make it feel liberated. And now in Pisces, it's been going through this, where am I feeling disempowered because I'm feeling victimized, I'm feeling that I don't have power and control over my life, and what thoughts, what thinking patterns, what ways of identification of reality, or what truth and non-truths are keeping me from living the life of purpose and meaning. And obviously Sun highlighting this area, like going through the Pisces, where things come to die and to be reborn, where we identify the things that no longer hold a deeper meaning for us and that we just cannot take with us into the future because it's just not who we are anymore. And now when those two guys, Sun and Mercury, conjuncted with Neptune and then with each other, Neptune obviously already been in a sign of Pisces for 6 years, right? Or longer, 7. And Neptune is telling them guys, I know, right? I've been here for a while and I understand that these things of the past, they just don't have a purpose. They don't have a meaning. They don't make sense anymore. So everything going through the sign of Pisces, there's been this process of realization what it is that it just doesn't have a meaning in our life anymore. So we have to let it go, because this Mars is just about to change sign. It's about to go into sign of Cancer next week. So it's ready. It's just literally just waiting for Mercury to give him the message what it is that I need to let go of, or they communicating with each other because of these squares between Sun and Mars and Mercury and Mars. There is this communication going on from the knowledge that Sun and Mercury accumulated through their transit through the sign of Pisces, and their meeting with Neptune, who just passed on the message. And now we also have Grandpa Saturn in there. So Saturn is completely going to restructure everything. It's going to turn the form into the formulas and formulas into form. It's just going to do its little manifestation trick, but in a non-linear way. So as I've mentioned before, the only way how we can predict Saturn in Pisces is to connect with your intuition, because in Pisces, nothing is linear, nothing is predictable. There is no logical way of creating some structure or something. So how this has been manifesting for me, obviously, there is a lot of thinking going on, and I'm sure a lot of people, because the people I'm coming into contact with are experiencing something similar, a lot of people are being more and more acutely aware and feeling their body. They actually feel it intuitively, that there are certain things that are just not going to be making it into our future, right? And this could be anything. And obviously, in order to to prepare for this age of Aquarius and the full Pluto transit through the sign of Aquarius, we need to feel empowered. We need to feel that we are in charge of our life, because there is no one out there to hold our hands and to save us. We have to actually take authority over life, and we need to live in a more authentic way, so we can find this sense of meaning and purpose. And the main issue I see in the society these days, because of the conditioning and this guilt and shame of the 2000 years of Pisces, majority of people, they don't know what they actually need. They don't know what is important to them, because they've been so conditioned by the environment and this wanted to be the good person, whatever that means, like trying to do the right thing, that they abandon themselves. They've forgotten about themselves, and now they don't know what it is that they need. They don't know what it is that they are. Just a lot of people are fully aware that they are not happy, and that their life doesn't give them a sense of meaning and purpose anymore, but they don't know why. And the core answer to this is Venus. It's obviously just gone through the sign of Aries, so it's still currently in it. So Venus is there to let us know, like, hey, you have to find out, you have to discover what it is that you need. And obviously, when she goes into Taurus, it's like this internal process of like, okay, now I can embody it, I can feel it in my body. I've gone out there, I observed what it is that I liked, what it is that calls to me, where is my direction of purpose and destiny. And now she will go into Taurus in few days, and she will go like, okay, now I'm at home, now I can work on this, I can put it into manifestation. And she will make the sextile to Saturn. So she will go, hey, Grandpa Saturn, I need some help here, send me some stability here, send me some definition, send me some, help how to do it, like some formless download, right, from the Pisces world. Obviously, I will talk about it further down the line, how Venus will conjunct the North Node, which will also happen in a very short future. And there will be other things happening, but for the time being, to me, this is a lot to do with the belief system. And also, not just our belief system, but also the truths and the lies. And it could be both, right? Because, everything is everything. So what is true for someone else, it could be lie for somebody else, because there is this opportunity to perceive reality from the linear point of view. And, obviously the higher perspective is the non-linear. So what is actually the truth and what is actually the lie? And that's where we have to use our discernment and our intuition to identify that. And as I mentioned in my shorter videos on Instagram, there is such an overload of information coming to us from every single direction. Also, Mercury in Pisces, it doesn't have boundaries. There is no boundaries. So there's all this information coming through from everywhere. And now, how does that make us feel, right? I would go back to the core. How does it make me feel? Does it support me? Does it make me feel better, or does it make me feel worse? And then if it makes me feel worse, how is this information serving me? And then look behind the purpose of the information. Why is this information coming out now? And what is the agenda behind it? Like, why would somebody put this information out there? What is the intention? So I think there is just this overload of information, and some of it could be the truth, some of it could be the lie. But what really is the truth? We already, I already invited people to contemplate that, there are a few things that are truth, which is the universal truth, but majority of information we are being fed and that we are digesting is actually just somebody's perception of reality, which is not truth. It's a subjective perception of reality. You can adopt it as your truth, you have that option, but it doesn't have to be the truth. So many times we get worked out and upset about and overwhelmed by things that are not even truth, or we can choose that are not truth for us because we are not alignment with that information. And that's why I feel that this Mercury, Sun, and Neptune, together with Pisces, squaring this Mars, that is saying that there is some kind of tension going on here, guys. There is something, that is preventing me from moving forward and having this new beginning, or, acting into a new way of seeing the reality. Also, with this Gemini is the duality that, everything is true and everything is lie at the same time, right? So with this square going on, this is the opportunity to actually discern, is this actually true for me, or is there a reason why I should be digesting this information? And this is also to reflect on our own belief systems and our own what we feed ourselves, because we are so stuck in our mind most of the time. Like majority of the people are in their head most of the time. We are not even grounded in our body. We are just constantly thinking and in our head. And then this brain of ours, which is amazing tool until it becomes our master, and then it's just can create all sorts of situations. So is this actually, what is this doing for us to be in our head and being overwhelmed by all these thoughts and all these informations? Is this actually serving us, right? Because there is such a thing as overwhelmed by all this information coming at us from all different directions. So I think also with this square that's happening, that's been happening yesterday, and there is obviously these three planets, Mercury, Sun with square with Mars, and also Neptune being in a mix. Neptune is about the higher meaning, but it's also about the confusion and delusion and escapism, and people just wanted to just use whatever it's available for them, just to not have to even think about these things. But it doesn't mean that the way we think about the things will dissolve, right? It's still there. We just numb it out for the time being. So anyway, so coming back to all this, that I'm trying to get to the core of the point of this, is that I feel that before Mercury will move into Aries, which offers is a new beginning, and where it actually will be ruled by Mars, and Mercury is currently the ruler of Mars, so there is obviously something going on between these two, something in regards to how we identify the reality around us. And also being in Pisces, like, everything is nebulous, right? Like, just because we live in this three-dimensional reality doesn't mean this is the only reality that exists. This is not the only potential, right? So there being a square at the moment, and then in a few days' time, there's going to be a mutual reception, because Mercury will be ruled by Mars, and Mars is ruled by Mercury. So there will be obviously a positive communication going on between them, because there'll be the mutual reception. And at the same time, we have Neptune involved, and Neptune is obviously helping us to discern what it is that is the truth, what it is that is the lie, and what out of this is giving you a sense of meaning. Are you following the direction that gives you a deeper meaning? Is the way you think or the things that you believe, are they supporting you on the path towards the life of deeper meaning? Or if not, why are we even digesting this information? Like, how is this how is this helping us? It's like with this Venus squaring the Pluto, like how is any of this supporting us in feeling more empowered, in having our needs met? So I think it's more about feeling and about grounding the way that we feel, to be able to figure out what it is that we, whether that which we think and which we believe is actually serving the purpose, if it's actually giving us this sense of a deeper meaning. And as I said, in few days, actually tomorrow, Venus will move into Taurus, which, it's a positive shift for her, because she will go from the sign of detriment into sign of her rulership. So Venus will be strong in Taurus, just on time for the equinox and the new moon in Aries. And on Saturday, Mercury will move into Aries. And just before that, Mercury will sextile Pluto. So obviously, whatever is this information that Mercury is accumulating and trying to let go of, dissolve, and focus on something that will be more effective, more effective way of seeing the reality, of interpreting what's around us, because it really sometimes is as easy as a shift of perception. It doesn't mean that that which is happening is not happening, but how do we perceive what's happening? And that's why people even say that we can change our past just to change the perception through which we perceive the past, right? We can't obviously go back, but if we change how we think and feel about what happened, we change the past, because the way it was impacting us before, it's not impacting us anymore. So in the same way, I feel that this applies to these transits, that how do we interpret the information that's coming to us can either make us feel better or worse. It doesn't mean that this is not happening, but how do we perceive it, and how do we want to identify with that information, or how do we want to embody it, what feelings do we want to give it. It will impact how our reality manifests, right? That's why I personally don't watch media. I don't want to give my energy into manifesting something that I don't want to manifest, because not many people actually understand that by buying into the information and creating an emotion in a response, especially if this emotion is fear, and this lower emotion where we feel disempowered and victimized, that is still an emotion. And emotion is how we manifest. It's our thought, but it's also our emotion. By backing up the thought, that's how we manifest things. So actually, by watching news and listening to something that is negative, perceived as negative, and then us straight away creating an emotional response and feeling what we feel based on that information. So we straight away create story. Our brain creates story based on the past experience that we've had. It leads to an emotional response, which then helps to create that situation. It just adds energy into that manifestation of that. So that's why it is very important to discern and actually connect with yourself, with your own body, because your body will respond in certain way, and also to connect with your intuition. What is this telling me? Where is the guidance in this, and is this actually supporting me or not? Because it doesn't mean that just because you don't know about it, it's not happening. But by you hearing some information, and also to which extent is this information truth or not, like I said, if we start feeling into that information, which could be truth or not, we then create that reality for ourselves, and that's maybe not the reality that you want to create for yourself. So anyway, so I feel that this is a very important transit, these current transits with all this Mercury Sun in square with Mars, and also conjuncting Neptune. It is helping us to identify what is this way of thinking that might not be serving us anymore, that we might have to let go of, and we might have to be more present with our thoughts, rather than just going on autopilot, but actually question and discern, is this truth? Or is this just somebody's perception of reality? Is this actually truth, right? Before we start getting worked up about it and putting emotion into it, and then helping to manifest that reality, right? And also, it's on an internal level, is to feel into my reality, and is this actually having a meaning for me anymore? To try to think and identify that this process of thinking, or the way of viewing life and reality, is this actually meaningful for me anymore? And if not, then what can I do to change it, to change the pattern? Because at the end of the day, you are the, you know, you are the ruler of your mind. Like, you know, you can always change it. Like, yes, majority of our day is running on our, you know, autopilot. Our subconscious mind rules our, you know, what we do. But if we are present and if we consciously choose what we're thinking about and how we respond to things, then we are overriding that. So yeah, anyway, I want to bring it to close because this video is already much longer than I wanted to create. But the bottom line, the core message is really what are these thoughts, what are these beliefs that you know, might be making you feel stuck or victimized to a certain extent, and are not giving you a sense of purpose and meaning anymore. And what can we do to change it? Because like I said, Mercury is just about to change signs, and just before it does that, it will make a sextile to Pluto. So it's obviously up to us, you know, like the Pluto is just showing us where we feel disempowered. The Mercury now identified that, and it's a positive aspect. So now we will know that what it is, we will understand what it is, and now we have an opportunity to change it, because Mercury is just about to move into sign of Aries. So we can choose consciously to think in a different way, to interpret things in a different way, which then impacts what's going to manifest for us. Because as I said, sometimes all that's needed is a change of perception, but like how we look at the things that are happening and how we identify them and how we buy into it with our emotions. So yeah, so I'll leave it at that, guys. I just thought that it was something important to talk about because of all the overload of information and potentially misinformation that's out there, and it's very, very easy to create stories around it, because that's what our brain does. It just clings onto information and straight away goes into the database of the past experience, and based on what we hear, it creates a story and a situation, you know, straight away. Like, we as a human being, we have imagination, and we're really good at manifesting and visualizing things. So straight away we create a story, we create a picture, you know, in front of us, and then it's just, you know, it's so much easier than for it to materialize in the world. And we have the power. People don't understand how powerful they are, but actually we have the power to change it. The same way we have the power to manifest it, the same way we have a power to manifest something different. So it's up to us. So that's why it's important to focus on what you do want, not on what you don't want, because either way you manifest in it. So you decide, you choose. And this Neptune with the higher meaning, it's giving us the opportunity. Like, everything is possible, everything is available. There is unlimited potential of possibilities. So what do you choose? It's up to you. Okay, much love, guys. Thank you for listening. Bye.